Hi, Jennifer Villarreal here.
Hi, Rocio, Vallejo.
This is the Sales from the Heart Show, the place where business meets heart and soul. And wow, do we have a great show for you today. But before we get started, we have a few people that we want to give some shout outs to that have supported us here at Planeta X in the Sales from the Heart Show. So who do we have today?
Okay, so we have Aladdin Patio Restaurante, located at 3115 North Central Avenue. We have Restaurante Zacatecas, located at 5037 West Traverse. Viva Cafe Bakery, we tried some of their yummy pastries last week. They're located at 2835 North Central Avenue. And then Tacos Tequilas.
Yay!
Yes, we've dined there twice. The food is absolutely delicious. And that place is located at 2919 North Milwaukee Avenue.
And a big shout out to Jorge and Jorge of Tacos Tequilas. We also have a fun little intro video that we did for Tacos Tequilas. So make sure to look on their Facebook page for that, as well as Planeta X has it, and also my YouTube channel at Sales from the Heart.
All right.
All right.
So
let's get started. What are we talking about today, Rocio?
Should I use my verbiage?
Sure.
Key influencers and how they impact your business.
So key influencers, and influencing, we usually think about that being from a positive perspective, but sometimes that can have a negative impact on our business or even on our mindset. So where should we start with that today?
I think maybe we should start with naming what kinds of key influencers impact our business.
Yeah, let's do that. So
Okay.
what's the first one?
Okay, so the first one is usually somebody that's internally involved in your business. So either a significant other or a business partner.
Okay.
Second would be external, so a client, a future client, and maybe their significant other, somebody that is going to impact or influence their decision buying. I forgot to put my phone. Never mind. And then
She's being influenced by her cell phone.
My cell phone,
that is starting to chime
I
into ring.
forgot.
Do you want to go ahead
yes,
and
I forgot to
mute that real quick?
Darn it, guys. You're doing so well.
Hey, it's not as bad as what show was that? Show number 5, where we had it. It was the topic was about distractions, and all we did was talk. And as we're talking, there were nothing but distractions. I think she hit her tooth on the microphone. She dropped her notes. The phone was ringing. Our producer was crawling on the floor, which was hilarious.
I couldn't stop coughing.
Yeah, you couldn't stop coughing. It was quite the show. We've come a long way, though. So thank you for your support and all the love that you provide through liking the videos on YouTube, from the emails that you send us. So info@salesfromtheheart.com. We appreciate the support. All right, so we've got a few influencers, whether it's from internally that we engage with, our spouses, business partners, and maybe even ourselves. Maybe that's a separate category. Then we have our clients and their significant others, and who else?
Possibly a boss or a manager if you're working for another company or a company. And then I'm going to take it a little further. People that you maybe would consider somebody that can help market your product or your service. So
those champions, those people in our circle of influence. How about that?
And I think that's about it. We can start
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that.
Right.
So this was a topic that you brought up, Rocio, that you felt you have some experience with, but also maybe some things that has affected your business, whether currently now or in the past, and a few of my clients as well. This is a big topic that comes up. So what do you see as being some of the challenges when we talk about our spouses or business partners of how they can influence and impact our business?
Okay, as far as spouses are concerned, my experience has been, and I've heard other people have had similar experiences, but when you share your feelings or your doubts, especially if those are negative, with your spouse usually tends to want to protect you. And free you of whatever pain or whatever blocks you have. And so their natural tendency is to kind of maybe sway you away from whatever decision it is you're thinking about making.
Yep. Absolutely. I think what ends up coming up in here is we start to talk about money. So we're, hey, look, I just got this deal, or I just started working with this person. Well, how much money is that? Oh, that's not enough. what are you doing? You just worked, 10 hours and you only made $100 or whatever it may be. And they can put it kind of a damper on is something that's maybe a potential win for you, right? And helping you gain momentum. I hear that a lot, especially with startups out there. Also, from another perspective, is maybe you're complaining about a particular client or a situation, and then they're saying, well, why are you even doing what you're doing? Why don't you just go get a job? Or why don't you just get a different job? Or whatever it may be. And then you're finding yourself kind of in defensive mode, but yet they're trying to defend you, and then that causes a rift and an argument. Would you say that's
Totally.
a scenario that can happen?
Totally. And I think also lack of time. So, the amount of time that you're putting into a project, is that going to take time away from your significant other, from your family? So that also, is another concern.
Yeah. And then, I'm going to put this one on the men a little bit. They go into problem solving. And I've heard clients say, well, you know what? My significant other, their major in college was finances, for instance. And they think that I should just work with them on that and not work with you on that. Well, listen, I'm not going to go under the hood, basically. We're going to have an overview of what's going on with your finances, et cetera, because that's really important. If we're going to increase your business and you can't handle what you have right now, then how are you going to handle when you even have more? And then all of a sudden they start to say, well, I know this person, or why are you paying for that? Because it's a holistic approach. And so they might be an expert in that area, but why haven't they been doing that with you then to begin with? Or sometimes when they're too close to you, there's all these other biases that can come into play. And it really ends up preventing that growth. So maybe initially up front, you might be thinking that you're saving some money, or you're spending more time with your significant other because you're working on these things. But a lot of times without that clear direction or that structure, it ends up causing more problems down in the long run.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely helps.
So I think also business partner, this is one of the things that comes up a lot too. If you don't have those clear boundaries set up front, if you don't have that communication laid out, and sometimes you need to get an attorney involved, right? Ahead of time, not after the fact. Right. And so we want them to have these clear communications and boundaries established. Otherwise, we could have some major things that come up that cause some frustrations. Would you say?
Totally. Yes. That's been my experience.
Yeah. And we don't have to go into all of that.
No,
you can just tune into the other shows on some of what that can happen there. But what else? What other influences do you think happen amongst whether it's our spouses, significant others, maybe family members that are kind of, keep checking in on you? How are you doing with your business? All of those things.
I think that's a huge one too. Definitely. Family or friends, they're, and they might be coming from a good place, but definitely concerned with what you're doing in your business, how it's going, what you're making, how much time you're putting, all those like minute little details that you don't really need to share with
so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find what ends up happening initially when I work with a client, they do that because that's just a pattern and a habit that they've been used to. But then they miss over some of those important details when we get together and we meet. They think that they've already shared that. And also, I think sharing too much with so many different people, it might be feeding something that you're hanging on to. Maybe you are used to the drama that's going on. Maybe you're used to things being hectic and you think that's the way it needs to be. And in reality, that's going to prevent the energy that you can have while connecting with your ideal clients because you're burning that up over with all this drama.
Right. I think those are some great tips. Should we go on to clients?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So as far as clients are concerned and their significant others and how, they're being influenced, as to whether or not they should purchase our product or our service. Mm-hmm. My experience has been in the past, significant others usually don't understand. And typically it's the men that don't understand why we would need to hire an event planner. Why do we need to hire an event planner? What does an event planner really do? It's just an extra.
They're looking at it from an expense standpoint, and they don't see the value.
Right. They don't. Right. Mm-hmm. So, what are some tips as to how we can go ahead and handle that?
Yeah, I think it's really important when there's a significant other involved that they are somewhat involved in that decision making. A lot of spouses have a set dollar amount. So anything over maybe $1,000 or over $500, they want to consult with each other. So you might want to ask your client ahead of time who, in addition to yourself, is going to be helping you make this decision. And then we get them on board at the beginning, right? So a lot of times they might say, well, no, it's just me, or I have full control on this. Okay, well then at the end of us having this consultation, for instance, I'm going to have you make a decision. So are you able to make that sole decision? So that's another way that you can position it. The other thing is you can invite the significant other on the call as well. That might be something that's important to do, or set up a time to have that conversation with the significant other in advance. The other thing, too, is propose that question to the potential client prospect that you're speaking to. So what are you going to do if your significant other says no? That's a really, really important thing to address. So, keep in mind that if they're having some hesitation up front with that, then they're probably going to have it most likely after the fact. And really, do you want somebody trying to sell your services for you? Probably not. So you're here to help them make a decision by presenting the information very clearly, right? And if it's not in alignment with, and there's no trust there, it's probably not going to come through anyway.
Right.
So I can see why somebody wouldn't think that it's essential to have event planning or whatever the product or service is out there, but that's just because they know nothing about it, or they have their stereotype as to what they think it is.
Right.
Or maybe they had a negative experience before in the past with your product or service presented by somebody else.
Right. I think that's great. Mm-hmm. So basically then you're just saying that we should already have some kind of plan.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you want to have that structure set up in place. And again, we want it to come from that authentic place. So if you do have a script, it's not going to sound salesy. We have to customize it to you, what makes you feel comfortable. Again, this is something that is essential when I work with my clients. We put that together regardless of their industry. We have to be able to clearly communicate our ideas and help people, make that decision. And it's not about trying to convince and convert somebody or chase them down. And so you might position yourself as that expert and authority out there through some other valuable content that you can create. But you're not necessarily sending over brochures or, proving how great your business is. That, again, puts them in a different, puts yourself in a different position where you're having them be that expert then, trying to gather all the information.
Right. I mean, I think that's key, is definitely letting that authenticity shine through, because I know I've started a conversation with somebody and all of a sudden that script comes on and I can read right through it. And that's, for me personally, I just get turned off and then I'm like, I'm done here. But if I sense that you're being authentic and, you really are interested in me and not so much what my money or selling your service or your product, then I'm more inclined to listen and possibly even work with you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. You want to make sure that you have that process, and there are proven processes and ways that we take people through that, right? And that genuine emotional connection needs to happen first before we can make a decision or have that logic set in. We all have an emotional response when we're buying something or when we're being presented with something. People's defense will automatically go up. So how are you setting that tone in that conversation? And also, I'm a big fan of not working with everybody out there, not trying to be like, oh my gosh, my services are so great, or we have to connect, or didn't you know I won this award or that award, right? Because then again, you're chasing after that person. I mean, you know what works best for your clients as well as for yourself. And if you don't, then, make sure you connect with somebody that can help you structure that and put that together.
Sounds great. And so if our viewers want to find out more or want to learn how to build their own script or how to do this, how can they go about doing so?
Yeah, I think the best way is just to get in touch with me. Send me an email to info@salesfromtheheart.com. You can also call in. The number is 773-624-SALE. We can connect on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. There's plenty of ways to reach out. Here's the thing. If you're thinking about doing it, a month from now or 2 months from now, we're probably not going to connect. You're going to talk yourself out of it. You're going to put it on the back burner. The best way to do that is just to simply connect with me now. And if you're thinking, well, I just don't have the financial resources, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Again, it's what's going to change then? What's going to be different 6 months from now, a year from now? Again, you're probably chasing the dollar and you're running around in circles. We need to address this now. I might point you in the direction of a resource, of a book that you can go get at the library, for instance. Don't let that stop you. Also, on the flip side, if you have so much money and business is going so well and you can't handle another thing on your plate, then we probably have a concern there too. I'm probably more worried about your health and why you can't carve out, 15 minutes to connect with somebody.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so boss or a manager. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're in a position where, you have, let's say you're an ideas person. And so you have all these ideas that you would love to see roll out or that you think can impact, the productivity, of your business. And but these ideas have to be approved by a boss or a manager. And you have a boss or manager that isn't really open to much of anything. Mm-hmm. I don't know, some tips as to how we can address this scenario.
You know what? And again, it's not cookie cutter, and I don't know the complete scenario, but let's just imagine that scenario there. A lot of times people, the way that they present their idea, they're trying to convince that person right there. And maybe that the manager doesn't view you as being the most credible just yet. So you might want to position it more as a question, more as a, hey, what do you think that we can do to improve, the camaraderie on the sales floor here? Because maybe you're seeing that it's negative, it's starting to have an impact on your calls or lack of calls that you're making, et cetera. You might want to propose that idea out there. Even though you might have an idea already, get an idea of what they're thinking. They might say, you know what, I really don't even think that's an issue right now. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, what I've noticed is that production has been down. Then you can give some more of the facts at that point. And you can say, I noticed production has been down when a few people are talking negatively or they're coming into the office hungover. And yes, this happens all the time on the sales floor, right? And so you might want to say something like, I don't know, would a contest help, or would maybe we have an inspirational talk or a speaker come in, or maybe we just play a video before we start the morning meetings. What are your thoughts on that? And if it's still not going anywhere, then here's the thing that you do have control over. You do have control over your own actions, right? And we don't need the approval of somebody else's to change our attitude. That's the most important thing. A lot of times people feel defeated because they think that they don't have permission from somebody else, or they don't have the recognition from somebody else. But I'm telling you, my friends, you need to tap into what's in here and understand your why. Why are you going to work every day? Who do you truly work for first and foremost, right? And if it's to gain money, if it's to gain approval of somebody else, you're missing the mark there. And we definitely need to connect on that.
I think that's great. Definitely recognizing, or pinpointing your why and recognizing who it is you truly work for. I mean, that's huge because I hear it all the time. So many people that are so unhappy with their 9-to-5 gig. And, a lot of it's because I hate my boss, right, or I hate my coworkers, or I'm not making enough money. And the excuses, it's just a laundry list of excuses. So I think, if you can stay focused and
right. And then they go to another job and then they encounter the same thing.
It's true.
And it must be everybody else out there.
Not
right?
you. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I know sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror and to see that we're creating this pattern or this issue that keeps coming up. But we might just need to make some minor tweaks there. It doesn't necessarily always mean we have to completely restructure everything. So many times that self-defeated talk is happening, or we think, you know what, I can't leave my job, I can't do this, I have bills to pay. But in reality, it's you haven't made the decision to have a significant change in your life, even if you don't know the how. The how doesn't come first. Right. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I think changing your perspective is huge.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I love that. Okay. So next, I think we have the champions. Okay. That's actually the first time I've heard that term.
Yeah, that circle of influence, those people that can, that they just champion for you. You know I have a few who watch the show, who share it with other people, who comment. Big shout out to my mom, who's the #1 fan, I think. She's even messaged you as
she's
well.
great,
So
yes.
we appreciate that. And she even watches the shows a couple times. She's like, I didn't quite get all the points. That's okay, Mom. And for those of you, sometimes we might go a little fast, or we might it might be more of a repeat on some of the beginner information that we share, because we have a wide range of audience out there, from whether they're just starting their business, whether they want to start a new business, or whether they've been in business for a long time. But understand that just by being open, you're activating that into your existence. And I don't want to get too foofy here, but it really is about connecting with other people and having that intention. Another person is Chris Mahoney. She is fantastic. Her company, Third Vision, and she does security and background checks. And she's so eager to want to engage with other people and to learn from other people. And those are the type of people that you want to surround yourselves with, because then you find yourself wanting to help them. And it doesn't take a lot of time and effort either. So these people can really have a tremendous influence on, maybe via social media, connecting you with other people. But then there's also, I think, those people that some people try to stay away from, because they try to stay away from social media, because they say, oh my gosh, I might get one bad review out there. Then what am I going to have to do? Or I have enough issues that I need to handle. And if you're finding that you're having a lot of drama, or a lot of people maybe not talking so favorably about you, then there's probably something else going on there that we need to tweak and make some adjustments with.
That's great. I love that. And also, just touching on the champions, what about those individuals? And I think, I've heard it before, but what if some of our viewers can't pinpoint any champions in their circle? Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
We probably need to get you connected with other groups then.
Yeah, okay.
So if whether you're in Chicago or out of the city, that's okay. I do work with people nationwide, and there's other ways of finding people in your area that you can connect with. And I find a lot of times people don't want to go out into these groups because maybe they don't have business cards yet. They don't know exactly how to clearly network or explain what they do, or they don't know how to find who those champions are. Again, we're providing resources for you here, so definitely give me a call and we can get you connected and fine tune. Sometimes it's not about being in 10 other groups. It's maybe being in the one or two of where your ideal clients hang out. So a lot of times I see people going from networking event after networking event. They have 10 lined up in a given week. And what are you doing? Are you just trying to find maybe the one that works for you? Well, then maybe we need to sit down and fine tune who your target audience is. Oh no, Jennifer, I want to work with everyone. This product is for everyone. Let me tell you, you're going to end up spinning around in circles again and not attracting your ideal target audience, because your message will not be clear.
Right. I mean, I remember, a couple months ago, and you mentioning, and you'd mentioned it over and over again over, a period of time, but, people will just start showing up in your life. These champions, per se, or other like-minded people will just start showing up. You'll start meeting them. You'll start attracting them. So I think what I learned personally was starting with myself, and that whole changing my perspective and putting myself in situations where I could possibly connect with certain people. And that's not to say that every networking event that I went to, I met somebody, I met a champion, or I made a friend, but attending the right events and meeting. I mean, I've met so many wonderful, wonderful people, women especially, just through working with you. So.
Right. And that was more of your target audience. So I connected you with those people. Another one of my clients, we just started working together over the past couple months. And you can actually find your target audience via Facebook, via maybe text messages, because you already have them in your database, via email. There's so many different ways that we can position that. Maybe if you're not technology savvy, it's actually hosting an event. And we start there. So, there are different, depending on where we're at with your business model. So initially, if we just need to get you comfortable and meet people in person, then we can do that. We go to events. But also, how can we position yourself out there? And I have to give big kudos to my client here for drawing in 3 new clients and generating over $13,000 and only working 6 hours per month with those clients total. And then this client was able to fill a group program and generated over $5,000 with that, all within a week and a half, which I think is fantastic. So we customized this particular process, and they were able to implement and execute that. And boom, like that. But there was a lot of mindset stuff, too, that we had to get over. Like all of a sudden it was, you know what, I'm going to take a break on this, and I'm going to work with bringing more people in like in a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, just send them over to me and I'll work with them, or I'll filter them to somebody else. And all of a sudden, boom, there was another client. No, I can take it.
Right.
And so sometimes we are a little bit of afraid of that success, I guess, that some people like to refer to. But remember, we want to redefine what success means, right? We want to redefine what that means to us. And it's not always working more, working harder, making extra money. It could also be about connecting with people. And when you find these champions, right, when you find these influencers in your business and you start to see the transformation that takes place beyond the product or service that you offer, wow, that is true success.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I know personally, I don't know, it was just one night, everything just clicked. And it was just like this incredible amount of confidence. Just, I don't know, and everything that we've been working on, everything that we worked through, it just all made sense.
Right.
It all made sense. It just all clicked in just 5 minutes. It was absolutely amazing. So,
developing that unshakable confidence is probably the most important thing that I hear from people of what they want. I mean, these are people who have $1 million businesses, pretty prominent business owners, down to people that are just starting up, or maybe they're stay-at-home moms or teachers as well that want to launch a side business, or maybe they're in network marketing, whatever it may be. But it's that inner confidence, because you were born to do something so great. We all have these unique gifts and unique blessings out there. And whether there's so many other authors out there, or sales coaches, or teachers, or event planners, or CEOs, presidents of companies, it doesn't matter. We all present a unique perspective on it. And not everybody is going to click with you, right? And they're going to go to the next person. That's okay, because there is somebody specifically designed for you that wants to work with you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm learning still, but definitely.
Yeah,
great.
it is. We constantly learn from this. It's not something that just stops, one day, or we master it all. There's always something else that'll come through. So we want to encourage you to take ownership of what your unique blessings are, what you're meant to do, and how you can serve other people. And, just to tie this up, I've been to some networking events recently, some that I've hosted, which I really enjoy, but I still hear people saying that, what is it that you do? And I think you and I, we brought this up, where when you met me, you didn't think that I was so warm and fuzzy.
No.
But what was one of the first things that you said to me?
I think, one of the first things I said was, so what do you do?
Right. What do you do? And
that's like her biggest pet peeve.
It is. It really is, because it's like, can we just say hi first,
Right.
and just like have a casual conversation?
Right.
And one of the reasons why is I understand most people, that's just a natural thing, or maybe they don't know what else to say.
Right.
But maybe we can give a little tidbit here, because when you ask somebody what do they do, first of all, they're really not as interested, because their eyes start to glaze over. Even if you're really clear, concise, and you have a snappy little intro, they're sizing you up at that point. Oh, they're putting you in a category. And I really teach people to connect with that person first. Sometimes I'll respond back, oh, what do? I breathe, I eat, I take care of 4 dogs and now
so
a tortoise.
sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. And I break away for just casual conversation. And you might say, well, that's a little superficial. But you know what? You're going to stand out more with that person. You're going to connect more with that person. And you want to see, too, can you engage with that person? I don't care if you can be a client of mine or not,
Right.
or I can connect you to another one. If you have a bad attitude, I don't care. I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
And so maybe I'm being a little judgmental there, but at the same time, too, I can't tell you how many people have asked, what do you do? And they quickly grab your card, and then what? You go onto their email list, they're
Right.
spamming you. That's totally fine. I don't care. I can unsubscribe. but I'm more interested in those meaningful conversations and those connections, which we ended up turning that around, and we did, and it was like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
And it's been maybe not even quite a year yet. So
Almost,
yeah.
Yeah.
When did Fran get married?
Coming up.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her when her
No,
anniversary
her
is.
anniversary just passed.
Oh, see, well then we just passed our anniversary.
Aw. We both go, aw.
But
No,
yeah.
but definitely, and I think when we brought this up is I tend to ask, what do you do, just for lack of other content or other things to discuss. It's just an easy go-to. And I do it without even realizing maybe that I do kind of maybe put people in boxes. If you give me your title, let's say, and
let's say I tell you I'm a financial advisor or insurance agent, what happens? What's your first
I'm
thought?
probably like, you're kind of boring.
Kind of boring, right? We think the person is boring, or we think, add them to the list of thousands of other insurance agents that I know, right? And we start categorizing them, and then, we just kind of like, whatever. But there might be some other connection there that they have, or somebody else that they know that would be a good fit for you or for your clients. And so we miss out on these opportunities. And that's one of the things that I teach at the events that I have every couple months called Not Another Networking Nightmare. And we really want people to engage with each other more on the personality first. And then we connect you via LinkedIn. Then you can start looking and seeing, who they serve and what sets them apart from others in the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really good point of what other topics or conversations can we engage with somebody? And you can ask, what brought them to this event? Who do they know here? What prompted you to get into the industry in or your field that you work in? That's another way of getting around the what's your title and do I want to talk to you any further because you're an insurance agent?
I mean, I think that's huge. Before we close out, but is liking the person.
Yeah.
Liking the person. I heard somebody speak one time, and they were talking about, the process that they go through when they're hiring somebody. And they're like, they asked, they proposed this question to the audience, but it was, what do you think should be the number one factor as to whether or not you decide, if you're going to hire a person? And I raised my hand, and I was like, whether or not you like them. Because it's true.
I mean, you just have conversation with them.
Yes. Because do you want to go into an office every day and the first person you see is somebody that just kind of gets under your skin?
Right.
No. So why would you hire them? And I think the same goes for attending networking events or just meeting new people or expanding your network, is meeting people that you really like, because you may not be able to work with them, but you're going to want to help them in their business just because you like them.
Right.
So I don't know. I think
when I was doing the hiring at a corporate company, we would toss aside the resume and we would just have a conversation. Right. That was so important, because if they couldn't have a conversation with me, how are they going to have a conversation with the client? And so it's the same thing for you. Keep that in mind, that you want to make sure that you connect with that person. And because then why are they going to want to refer somebody to you? Right. So that's really, really important. But I think we've covered a lot of great topics today.
So many amazing tips today.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're definitely going to start wrapping up in a little bit. So Xavier, make sure that you can turn off the camera pretty soon here as he's walking out the door. We don't want to do another one of those. We're going to have a little dance party or something just to fill up the space. And, sometimes our show segments are 30 minutes, sometimes they're an hour. I know it's a lot of time that we're asking for you to tune in, but we're really here to service you. So make sure that you connect with us on Facebook, on YouTube, and feel free to call 773 624 SALE. I had to remember my number there. I have a few numbers, so that's one of them. And you can always email us at info@salesfromtheheart.com. So we're here to serve you. Many blessings, everyone.
Bye. Till next week. That was good.
Yeah, we were almost going to have to